Get ready for this epic intro, Sue.
Epic intro.
Welcome to the first annual Side Dish Halloween episode. I'm your host,
Aaron Shin.
joined as always by the sound engineer Jay and our special spooky guest, Sue Minhan.
Hi guys.
How was that? That was good, right?
That was solid.
That was
Yeah.
incredible.
Thank you.
You sound like a real witch.
That was very Wario-esque.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
I was going
okay.
for more of a feminine voice.
It was supposed to be a witch, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah.
Anyways, welcome back to the Side Dish Podcast, guys. Today, Celine Jung is in Japan, and she can't join us, so it's just the boys holding on the fort, and then we invited Sue, my neighbor, to join in on the festivities. So, without further ado, Sue, why don't you introduce today's topic?
I have no idea what
I mean, just take,
our
just
topic
why don't you
is
pitch,
today.
why don't
but
you just pitch
I'm
something
Gonna,
and we'll just talk about it?
I'm gonna guess that we're gonna talk about your favorite holiday, Halloween.
My favorite holiday is definitely not Halloween, but my favorite genre of film is horror. Absolutely, yeah. We don't have to talk about that now, though. One idea so we have no outline really for this episode, but what Jay and I thought would be a fun idea is, first of all, because like Celine's not here and she typically is kind of like the voice of reason and like the feminine voice, kind of like exploring what it was like to be without parental supervision when you were young. Like, for example, Sue, I feel like in your family dynamic, your mom was like the hard ass, right? Definitely for me, my mom was like the scary one. Jay, was that same for you?
Yeah.
Yeah. So whenever my dad could be home, but if my mom was away on a business trip, I just knew that it was chill sailing for like however many days. So I was just I thought it could be fun to share stories or any memories we have, recollections we have of like no parental supervision, kind of just being at home, having parties. Like, did you guys ever have any house parties in high school?
Never.
Never.
I mean, as you know, I don't like to mix things.
Yeah, that's true.
Like friend groups. So friends at my house mixing with my family, no,
I
that's
see.
a hard no.
How about like if your parents were out of town, what was like your sort of guilty pleasure? What was the thing that you would try to get away with? Like for me, it was smoking weed in the backyard, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, that's like actually cool. Mine is watching TV.
Oh, okay.
I'm thinking
Yeah.
when I was like a little kid, we weren't allowed to watch TV during the weekday.
No, for sure. My parents had the same rule.
So if and both my parents worked, so if my sisters and I would be home, we'd look for the controller wherever my mom hid it.
Oh, wow. It was that intense.
Yeah, and then we'd just fucking watch whatever like WB.
Yeah,
on,
no, for sure.
on a
Yeah,
Wednesday
WB.
night. Yeah.
Did I ever tell you guys the story of my sister and I did that? We would do that every day after school. And then one day we were watching TV and then we just heard something upstairs. And my mom had come home from work early that day and was just listening to us watch TV for like hours.
That's
Oh
awesome.
my
Yeah, and she was
gosh.
like, she came out and like started screaming at us, like,
Oh,
I thought I raised my children to like do the right thing, and I was waiting for you to put down the controller and practice piano, all this shit, and we were just like, oh my fucking god, we were so busted, dude. Yeah.
Oh no. I had a similar experience to Jay. I think I was never allowed to watch TV, so when my parents left, it would be like the first thing that I would try to go,
Right.
sort of sneak in a bunch of shows, like music shows.
Well, we all know Sue loves music.
I love that K-pop. What else did I used to do? Oh, internet.
Oh,
Internet
for sure.
access was totally limited. So when my parents were gone, I'd be like on all
You'd be
of the
catfishing
AOL
all the boys in your high school.
AOL chat rooms. That was the vibe.
Not to like unlock any core traumatic memories, but did any of us like encounter stranger danger on those forums? Because I feel like at our age, when we were introduced to the internet, we were so susceptible to that shit.
For sure.
You know,
Right.
like I spent hours talking to Smarter Child, right? That AOL like AI. That could have been like a creepy old man for all I know. You know, I would spend hours talking to this fucking chatbot. You know, but I don't think I ever had stranger danger with the internet in that way.
I don't think so either. I do remember like engaging in those chat rooms.
Oh yeah, ASL, like all
Talking to
that stuff.
who the fuck knows.
I know.
Who,
You guys remember Chat Roulette in college? That like video messaging website where you could like talk to
Yeah.
strangers, and it was super cool until it just became like erect penises.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I think they still do that kind
They
of stuff.
definitely do,
Right?
yeah.
I think it's like really popular amongst the young kids. But I think, I actually have an interesting story. I have a sort of like chat friend, sort of AOL friend, becomes, a friend IRL type experience.
A boy or a girl?
They were both girls, and we were part of the Harry Potter.
You were a
chat
part of a
rooms.
Harry Potter chat. Was it like
Yeah.
fanfic Harry Potter? Like
It was definitely like fanfic related. It was
Harry
very
Potter as a Thai gay boy.
yeah.
yes, very similar to
Yeah.
my earlier obsession.
Uh-huh.
I feel like it was like a shameful part of myself that I kind of hid from my friends. They had no idea that I was doing this at like the hours
LARPing?
between 1 a.m. and not even LARPing, like literally writing fanfic.
Oh,
You know what I
that's
mean?
actually
Like
really sick,
yeah.
that's like kind of what we were doing. We would,
Yeah.
and I would like participate in these like group like storytelling sessions, which like inevitably would turn into like smut because that is like
Well,
what
so did it always
fan
kind of
fiction
boil
is.
down to, and then
Yeah.
Gandalf disrobed?
right.
Right.
Okay, why Gandalf though? Like of all the characters, Aaron. But yeah, I mean, it was like the other his enemy, his mortal enemy,
Draco Malfoy.
Draco Malfoy,
Yeah. It's like enemies befriending
befriending and turning
or
into
more.
and
Oh,
turning
so
into
it
lovers.
always turned
Yeah.
into like basically homoerotic.
I think
sex.
someone would always take it there. You know
Nice.
what I mean? Like fan fiction is like
This
the
explains
base of.
so much for Sue. Yeah.
This really does.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, yeah. I think it was. I think I was a really imaginative person, and I really loved these like fantasy stories. And then to find a community online at the time,
Yeah.
that like shared that interest, but also took it a little like further.
Yeah. You know what's hilarious to me is like imagining, because your mom was such a tiger mom, like for you especially,
Yeah.
right? And so she's like, oh, my daughter is so smart. She's like in her room reading Lord of the Rings, and she's so creative. She's writing like this like fanfic, and then she like stumbles upon your notebook one day, and it's all just like cocks. Well, you know what I was thinking about? I've been watching obviously I watch horror movies like every day throughout the month of October. And I have noticed like a lot of modern horror is about like people living in your attic and coming out at night and like fucking with you. There's been a few horror movies on Netflix. I just saw one called I See You that is basically that premise. A group of quote unquote froggers. The term is frogging, where it's like you leapfrog from house to house and live in like unused rooms and just I guess like, live there for free. But I really recommend this movie to anyone who's interested in horror because it kind of upends a lot of conventions of an invader type horror movie.
Right.
And like the bad guy is not who you think it is, and like the invaders aren't who you think they are. I thought it was really, really creative.
I feel like I caught the last half of that movie.
Did you
with
join me for that? Yeah, you
Yeah,
did.
yeah.
It's so funny because I feel like every Halloween, you're always just here randomly when I'm like watching a horror movie or going on a binge.
Right.
But
I am.
last time, like 2 years ago when we went on that marathon, Sue, you said that you kind of like liked horror movies after that.
To be honest, I have definitely found an appreciation for horror movies since then because you really made me go through an intensive
I took you
immersion.
through the boot camp. Yeah, I really did.
It was like so immersive that now I kind of feel like I crave that like suspense. And yeah, it was a lot more entertaining than I thought it would be. Yeah.
I do remember coming over one time and you guys were watching.
All of the Scream series.
No.
Oh, no.
It's
Oh, we were watching Conjuring.
The Conjuring.
Yeah,
you were
yeah.
watching that. It was fucking spooky.
Dude,
Oh,
yeah.
right. Conjuring was
But
crazy.
it was
I actually
cool.
really liked Conjuring.
Yeah.
Conjuring's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was
So Conjuring would be kind of under the umbrella of what we call elevated horror, which is kind of smart horror. Like think about it this way: the only horror movie I think in history to win like Academy Awards was Dracula. It was Bram Stoker's Dracula, which was directed by Francis Ford Coppola. This is like maybe 94, right?
Whoa.
Ever since then, before and after, there hasn't been a horror movie to win the Academy. Signs of the Lambs, actually, if you want to debate whether that's a horror, whether
Or
that's
it's
a
like
thriller.
Yeah.
The book is more procedural drama than actual horror, but the way that it was directed, I mean, you can't deny that Signs of the Lambs is fucking scary,
Yeah.
right? Like, it's terrifying. So, but that also won the Academy Award a few years later. So it's interesting to think Hereditary, which came out maybe 6 years ago, which I think is one of the best elevated horror movies I've ever seen and was worthy of a Best Original Screenplay, wasn't even nominated. And so there's like this weird... Why I like horror is that it's never going to get the respect it deserves because it always will be genre-based, right?
Yeah, and there's not as much... Like, it's... The barrier to entry is... it's not as easy as... most Oscar films, right?
Yeah, that's true. I don't know about maybe we even just introducing a category for that, like a genre film category, you know, where it could be like a rom-com is nominated, a horror is nominated. I don't know.
I feel like there probably are like separate award shows specifically designed to
Absolutely. And I guess, you know what, now that I'm thinking about it, like the Oscars, who gives a fucking shit
Nobody
about
cares
nobody
anymore,
cares
right?
anymore.
Who actually tunes into
That's
that?
actually true. Yeah. You said this off the mic, but you said today your mom's retiring, Jay.
Yeah, that's a random.
I know. I mean, you had brought that up earlier before we recorded.
Yeah. My mom's retiring.
Congratulations!
Congrats.
Yeah,
Over here.
congratulations.
Well, your mom worked with your father at the pharmacy.
No,
or?
she's a registered nurse.
Okay.
She worked for Kaiser for like, I don't know, like 30 years at this point. Before that, at like some random hospital in Fountain Valley. But it just made me think about how, you know, we're all getting older. And I just think of my parents as still being the same age that they were when I was in high school. And it doesn't register me to that they're also like aging at the same rate. And she's fucking 65 and retiring and like, yeah.
What do you think? What does your mom want to do with her free time? Has she like talked about that? Like, I'm going to garden, I'm going to raise chickens.
My mom is a very like active person in terms of like having hobbies. So late in life, she got really into guitar and was taking guitar lessons. She likes to read. She's obsessed with her. Yeah, Harry
She's
Potter.
always online talking to her. internet
She's
friends.
on her AOL chat rooms, just like making fucking
Legolas Loverboy 69.
When I opened that doc on the desktop 2 years ago, it kind of scarred me. I'm still kind
That's
of
why you
dealing
came
with
to
that.
Korea. You had to flee the country.
But yeah,
No, I know what you mean though, because my dad has so many health complications now, and he's only 66, 67. Like he's pretty young. I don't know. Like your dad is still sick right now.
Yeah. My dad's.
Is he doing
going
better,
through-
or is he going through treatment? Did he he opted out of treatment like entirely, right?
No, that's not true.
Okay.
But I mean, also, I don't know if it's the same with you guys, but like, I feel like Korean parents have this thing where when they are going through some health reasons, at least, I mean, I find that this is the case for my family, but they really try to hide it, and they'd rather not share any information. And like, it used to upset me a lot, right? Because I'd find out like, oh yeah, your father, by the way, had heart surgery. And like things like that, you know, where I'm like, okay, how did I not know about this?
Yeah.
But then they're like, well, you're in America, you're living your life, and there's nothing that you can do anyway, and we don't want this to affect your day to day, which is why I feel like they will continue to feel that way, like throughout, you know, sort of like their like journey of, you know, end of life. I think.
Yeah.
So it's like I kind of had to rejigger my expectations on like what, you know, I don't want to pressure them into sharing anything. So I think that's the case with my dad. I feel like I have some information because I press him, but I know that I can sense when he feels uncomfortable. And then I'm just like, okay, I get it. You know, I understand his side of the story too. So
Yeah. They don't want to like burden you, and I can relate to that because I just had dinner with my uncle who's visiting town a week ago, and I found out my grandma on my dad's side was like her apartment room, her
actual
caught
room
on fire because a Dyson
a Dyson exploded or something.
Yeah, so she got a battery replacement. One of my uncles or something like replaced it with like a knockoff brand battery, and it just fucking exploded, and her apartment caught on fire, and she had to evacuate, and so did like a bunch, like entire like 5 floors beneath her.
Holy fuck!
And I mean, thankfully nobody was injured, but like I have no idea,
And that's crazy.
My parents.
Well, I guess
Really?
Yo,
Thank
$700
God.
for a Dyson doesn't seem like such a bad deal when you know that it won't explode. Yeah.
Right, this is kind of a PSA, I guess,
Yeah.
right? Like,
Holy
do
shit.
not trust
Don't buy
battery-
knockoff
don't,
batteries.
Don't
No.
fuck with knockoff batteries.
Yeah.
You know what's really funny though? I bought some knockoff Gillette razors today, and I hope they don't explode.
They might not explode, but they
They're
might
gonna
nick
cut
you.
my face up.
They
Yeah.
might
Yeah.
nick you. Who knows?
Have you guys been hearing about in San Francisco? Maybe Sue, you heard about this. Maybe Jay, you too. But like these really nice apartment complexes being like sabotaged with broken water pipes. There's been two like different.
I did not hear about
yeah, there's like two different big luxury buildings in the downtown area that have both like had like severe water damage, as in like multiple floors cannot live there for a year while they have to like
So
fix
poor
everything.
construction.
No, sabotage. Like
Sabotage. Someone messed with
someone like
someone
dug
went and
into the
fucked it up.
wall and
Oh,
like
okay.
and for at least for one of them, a mentally ill tenant actually like dug feet into the wall and found a pipe and then burst it, and that just caused insane flooding in this building. But then I read about another building that had a similar issue, and it makes me think like maybe there's some sleeper cells living in these luxury high rises that are like programmed to destroy. Because it is kind of cool. It is kind of cool
where that
that
was going,
Yeah.
but okay.
I think it's very Fight Clubby, kind of like anarchist to be like, yo, let's move into these really lovely high rises and then just like fuck them up.
Yeah, that's
Like,
actually
because like, these developers are gonna lose a
interesting.
lot of money because they're beholden to lawsuits, right? Like there's all these people who are being displaced and safety issues. So these guys who thought they were making a killing by buying up this block of land are now like fucked, which is kind of.
Well,
Yeah.
do we know that it is like some sort of
No,
anarchist thing?
I'm just speculating.
Okay,
The news article said a mentally ill patient, or a mentally ill tenant caused the damage, but the police officer was like, "I'm impressed by this man because he had to spend like weeks digging into this wall."
He was like Shawshank redemptioning
That's
his way out of
exactly what I was thinking when he was telling his
He's like,
story.
there's a poster over the hole in the wall.
Yeah. Oh my god, that's so funny. Yeah.
But it's
hilarious.
it's pretty cool.
Have you guys heard about these activists that are like going to these museums and
Oh yeah.
And throwing
destroying
shit, yeah.
artwork and
And they're protesting
making
oil. Of
though
all
they're
things.
environmentalists,
Okay.
actually, more specifically, right?
Okay, if you want to make a point, what's the best way to do it?
I think this is like a very non-violent way. So I was thinking about it, right? And I was like, oh my
Yeah.
God, it's so ridiculous. But then I'm like, they achieved their goal, which was to be on mainstream media
Yeah.
by doing such and
A
it's
stunt.
a painting,
It's a stunt.
you know?
Yeah,
It's like a
yeah.
painting that's been there for
I saw the video of the girl like giving her impassioned speech to like the one camera recording her. It's like an iPhone camera, but her points were very articulated very well. I mean, it's like this painting is behind me is worth like $300 million,
Right.
And like how much is like the future of the planet worth, or how much is like a human life worth? Like
Exactly.
why are we so obsessed with this fucking painting? And I totally
Yeah.
agree.
No, absolutely. Yeah, it was
Because like think about stocks, right? Like the market is down 20% as we speak, and it's like Meta just went down another 20% today, and I'm such an idiot for thinking that the future was the metaverse. Because now I realize I should have just like bought fucking Johnson & Johnson, which is still doing very well apparently. But
wow.
yeah, it's like, well, we put our trusts in like the monetary system because we all want to benefit eventually, right? And that's why like investments are lucrative and art is an investment. So I do get that. Like if you're asking me as an individual, do I support like high art? Yes, because it's like related to the things that will take me out of like middle class living, and like if one of my investments pays off, I will be rich and therefore comfortable. I think the moral equivalencies, when you break it down, can be starkly compared to you are actively contributing to the problem. Like I've been watching so many videos about financial independence and how much money you need to like live off dividends, and a lot of them are saying $3 million invested across multiple high yield dividend companies will yield you about $120K a year, which is more than enough to live on as a single person. If I'm married and have family, then that's not enough. It's not enough, but
Right.
it's better than it's actually better than maybe investing it in like a house that might go up 10% over like 10 years. So like I think about those things. Not that I have $3 million lying around and I never will, but that's always like in the back of my head. It's like if I did somehow strike it rich, like God willing, I definitely would just try to do that.
Right.
Like, put it into a high yielding dividend portfolio. But I don't know. I mean, have you guys thought about like retirement or anything like that? Speaking of like your mom retiring, for example, you know, like did your parents teach you like financial literacy and stuff when you were young?
No, and my parents are like so conservative with their money that they never invested in anything other than real estate. So
well, that's good for them right now because right now is a great time to have cash, actually.
I guess, but it's also not smart because years ago when they could have, put some money in, and if, even now it would have been worth a lot more.
For sure, yeah.
So they definitely did not teach me. I did take like a finance class weirdly, my high school taught it in our senior year. And like, I think a lot of California schools did that where you do like mock stocks.
Oh, yeah. And we all just bought Apple.
Yeah. And everyone won.
And everyone like made like 20%.
Yeah, everyone won if you bought Apple.
It's more so just like colleagues that I work with or like my boss.
I have like a moral sort of dilemma with like investing as Aaron.
You
all
are
the things that you were talking about earlier that like I'm like I think part of the reason
because
why
Sue, you are a good person, but you let your goodness dictate your actual decision making in a way that is not logical to me.
I think it's not logical. I mean, it's just I think about it a lot,
You
right?
do.
Because I wish I had. Of course, I wish I had more cash lying around right now, right? As you guys know, I've been taking a sabbatical from like sort of like the tech world and really thinking about like, doing a lot of soul searching about where I think I can find value, and it's been really interesting for me to understand like what helps me get out of bed every morning, and I think it's not like.
Well, you
Like
clearly haven't found it.
Yeah. Okay, today, to be fair, I
Dude,
am
Sue,
sick.
I called Sue at 5 p.m. and she woke up like, hello.
Aaron literally dragged me out of bed. I am sick, just so that everyone knows.
Yeah, hopefully not with that thing that's been going around for the past 2.5 years.
COVID's gone. COVID's gone.
I took a COVID test yesterday.
Oh, okay, cool.
So, yeah, anyway.
But, yeah, I mean, I see what you're saying for sure. I think that it's hard. We're in our mid-30s, right? And I don't really have a paradigm to kind of compare because our parents, first of all, like our parents had the 3 kids or whatever by the time they were our age, right?
Yeah.
And so at this point, it wasn't like, how much money can I save up to like invest? It was survival. It's like, I have children to feed. I have a mortgage to pay. And that's how I grew up very much like paycheck to paycheck kind of lifestyle. Maybe that kind of upbringing is why I try to plan ahead my finances like almost obsessively.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think there's something to be said about obviously planning for the future is really important. But then again, look at this crash. Like I could have invested all my savings over the last 10 years and wiped out everything that I made.
Yeah, like
in the last
overnight.
year, everything went down.
Yeah.
Back to like 2009 levels, which
Yeah.
is fucking crazy. So,
but if you went in 10 years ago, then I don't think you would have lost everything.
No,
if
you
anything,
would've-
you'd like break even or do
I think
okay.
you're right. I think if you
yeah.
entered 10 years ago, you'd still be very green. But
Yeah.
the gains that everyone made, I guess, since the start of the pandemic, I guess it's the last 2 years.
Yeah.
Because, we saw some radical drops.
Which was very hyped to begin
Right.
with, right?
It was
abnormal.
wild.
It was
Yeah.
it was
Wild.
not. It's
But I just feel fucking akawa because in March 2020, when everything dipped 40%,
Yeah.
I didn't buy shit. And then everything straight up doubled in the next month. And that's why they say like billionaires made like on average $46 billion more to their portfolio or something.
Yeah, because I mean they
yeah.
they can move their money around,
can,
right?
yeah.
And they can time it.
Yeah. Meanwhile, like fucking
There's
Venmo gives me a
Yeah.
limit every month on how much I
There's
make.
so much insider trading going on. You know what I mean?
True.
It's like I mean,
But how do we
that
get
begs
in on
to
that
question.
action?
Okay, but
You have to have $3 million.
yeah, I feel like this is actually an interesting point of discussion though, because I mean, does any of this matter if we go back to the whole, we are destroying Earth. We might not have like real food to actually like supply for ourselves to survive for the next like, I don't know, decade, whatever, like what have you.
Maybe the next 50 years. I think 50.
Maybe not 50, but I don't know. Like the rate at which things are going right now, I'm not a scientist, so I can't speak for certain, but all I do know is a lot of the scientists are like, yo, doomsday is close, It's like, it is a lot closer than all of us think, but none of our attentions are pointed in that direction, and rather like we're talking about like Kanye losing his deals, you know what I mean? Like what is like the focus here? What are we talking about? What are we thinking about? And I'm also like actually worried about global warming and what it will do for, our food supply.
Food supply is
very
a big one.
Soon. Yeah. I mean, it is getting warm and cold. The weather
at the same time.
At the same time.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's insane, right? So I'm like, no, this feels like a real problem. Yet there's not enough money being right. Whenever you guys go and like invest in these companies that are like fucking like GameStop or like whatever, these like Reddit pumped stonk, sure, like pumped like. It's like you're not looking at what value they bring to the world. And that's why a lot of these companies that are trying to create a more sustainable, like closed-loop future are not getting the funding that they need. And like this is like a huge like issue, I think that we need to talk about.
In the moment, for someone's material reality, a few $1,000s off a GameStonk trade produces more value to them than the idea of extending humanity's longevity on this planet. I know that sounds fucked up, but that is how basic human, I think, instinct works. Is that
absolutely.
Like I need a few $100, and like I can do this by trading this stupid ass stock. I guess there's no way to bridge like basic human needs with the goals of humanity, because for the goals of humanity to be achieved, we have to give up a lot of basic human things that we maybe take for granted.
Yeah, but I feel like that doesn't have to be that way. I think that if we were actually more intentional and like thinking about this,
I agree.
It's like it can be a cycle that can be broken, but because like everyone's personal interest is constantly at stake, meaning like there are billionaires with like oil like companies, let's say, that are lobbying in general, right, is like a thing, right? That all of this means that it's the game is rigged, and I totally get it, and it's like we need to unstuck ourselves from this like fuckery, but in order to do that, it would have to be like a collective like agreement, which I don't think we'll ever reach under the like not to like blame capitalism, but I'm just saying.
Well, that's why we need the metaverse, and that's why I'm so bullish on Meta. A Mark Zuckerberg company.
Yeah, but like honestly, that Web3 is crumbling.
I know.
Right?
Web3 was the biggest fucking con. It was like, what is it? I don't know. A blockchain. It's built on the blockchain. I don't know.
Like NFTs, right? Like like
thank God none
we're
of
talking
us
about
bought.
art getting destroyed, but NFT. There's still a market there, and they're continuing to like uphold it. But I think during this crash, everyone realized like, oh, that was definitely like there was a lot of hype.
Well,
this is like a pyramid scheme.
I'm glad that we brought this up, because NFTs were just a financial vehicle that were modeled off ICOs, which was just building a product that had no intrinsic value and then convincing people that it had value.
Yeah, exactly.
Which anyone who was in the crypto space knew what it was for what it was. And my cousin and I had talked about buying NFTs many times, being like, oh, dude, I really think we could flip this NFT for probably 3x if we chose. Yeah, it's totally a fucking flipping game. It's like
it's a pyramid scheme.
Totally, 100%.
Completely.
And I'm really glad that we chose not to, because see, that's a little different, right? Because that is like who can I fuck over? Who's like the sucker in the room?
Right.
Like, and that feels way more personally like malicious and unethical to be like, well, I got off okay, but someone out there got their fucking shirt taken, which is like that's not okay with me.
Okay.
I'll tell you this story.
So you do have your boundaries.
I do. This is the story I'll tell. So I was like a kleptomaniac thief in high school. I would like shoplift all the time. And it got to the point where I was actually stealing stuff from students in my class.
Wow, this is something I did not know.
Yeah, I didn't do it a lot. I only did it once. there was a kid in my band class who was known to be very rich, and he had a lot of cash. I basically took his backpack during band class because we kept all our shit in the back of the room, and I just stole his money in his wallet. It was in his backpack. It was maybe $40.
Okay.
And then he also had a Matrix DVD, which I also stole. And then after that, I got my iPod stolen because I was like in this circle of thieves in my class, and everyone was just stealing shit from each other. Like my bro JB got his CD player stolen. My friend Michael got his bike stolen. I got my iPod stolen. Like, so it was like kind of this eye for an eye. Like, if you are a thief, you're gonna get stolen from too. And that was really.
So there's a vigilante.
No. Just like, oh, Aaron like stole from fucking Anderson. So like, you can steal from Aaron. That's kind of how it worked. And so like years later, as a junior, I think I got my iPod stolen, and I was like, oh shit, this is so fucked up to like steal from your classmates. Like, you know, because and I actually wrote a letter to Anderson when we graduated, anonymous, with $40 in it, being like, "Yo, dude, like I borrowed some money from you as a freshman, and here's the money back." Because it really kind of made me think about like, what the fuck, like, there's no such thing as a really victimless crime, and then conversely, there's like very much victim-oriented crimes,
yes,
you know?
Yes.
And so I was like, I don't want to like know that I'm fucking over someone if I do this stuff.
That's actually really interesting that you apply that to your NFT
but
strategy.
Like for example, like I stole a lot in college too. I stole from American Apparel, but they're insured.
Yeah.
And so I was like,
totally
victimless crime. Like, and also the CEO is such a fucking creep that you know I didn't feel any guilt.
That's
over
true.
that. Yeah. Hey, what's everyone's favorite scary movie? I'm curious. You guys can pitch in too if you guys want.
I don't watch horror movies.
That's not true. I've shown you a few.
Did we watch Midsommar together? Were
No,
you there
when
we were doing?
No, I've seen it though. I don't consider that horror, but I guess it is. That was a good movie. I like that a lot.
Definitely,
It's great.
I like that one a lot. Yeah.
What Get Out is also considered technically horror, right?
Is that okay? Because like I
But
consider
that's
those
elevated
like,
horror. So like elevated horror is more
that not-
artsy.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just a different subgenre. Yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense. I'm pretty artsy, so.
I'm wearing a beanie. Of course.
But yeah, I like because I think of those more as like thrillers. But I suppose I don't really watch horror, so I don't know what they are.
Yeah.
What it is.
No, those would be elevated horror, but but they herald back to classic horror. Like for example, Midsommar references like Wicker Man, which is like folk horror, which was a subgenre from like the 80s, like cult horror, right?
Yeah.
It's what I also think is cool about horror is that it can actually give you a sociological like insight into what are the things that society is talking about. So for example, like in the 90s, which is often known as like the downturn of horror, when horror became really bad, that's when like Halloween 5, Aliens 3, like all these movies, like really shitty sequels came out in the 90s. But that's also when we got movies like Seven, Silence of the Lambs, like
Is Seven's not because that's like
it's
a thriller,
but it really is a horror movie. I mean, it's terrifying. There's a lot of graphic imagery.
I need to watch that.
So like, but my point being like,
You've never
but like that movie comes out of the 90s boom of serial killers. Like we're talking like Dahmer, we're talking OJ, we're talking Oklahoma City bomber. Like
OJ was innocent though.
my point being that you can actually map like a horror in the 60s comes out of the Red Scare, so it's a lot of like paranoia horror. And then like in the 80s you have like the AIDS scare led to the creation of body horror, which is like David Cronenberg, a lot of like gory, sort of fleshy Hellraiser type movies. 90s, you got serial killers like in Seven and Silence of the Lambs.
Right.
And then 2000 is when it gets really campy because these
I like the
tropes-
campy
I
horror
love the campy
movies,
stuff because it's like
yeah.
self-referential.
Scream
It's
and
not
stuff.
too serious.
It's not serious. It's got that like meta element.
Exactly.
I mean, that's sort of how Aaron
Introduced it, yeah.
introduced
I
the
love
horror
meta
genre
horror,
to me.
yeah. I mean, yeah. So right now, I think we're seeing a lot of elevated horror, as in like horror that is well educated, knows the tropes, and knows how to subvert expectations, et cetera, et cetera. So,
Subvert expectations,
that's
right?
a big part. Jen, do you guys want to watch a horror movie? No, I don't want to. Okay, so Jen doesn't want to watch a horror movie. Jen's friend, what's your name? Veronica, do you want to watch a horror movie? Sick. Okay, I'll hang out with Veronica. Veronica, are you going clubbing with them later too?
I think so. I haven't clubbed with this girl in 3 years.
Oh wow.
Okay, nice. Are you a friend from
Nice.
Hong Kong or from Shanghai? Got it.
Shanghai,
Damn.
okay.
All right. I love how the listeners have no idea what the hell is going on.
Yeah, they can't
They
hear
can't hear
anything.
shit.
Were you guys talking about NFTs earlier?
We were talking about NFTs earlier. Yeah, did you buy one?
I'm in Web3.
You're in Web3. Oh God.
Oh God. You don't want to hear about.
So how much
what we were
Ethereum
talking
did your
about.
project pull in?
We're on Solana.
You're on Solana. Okay.
Oh right.
This is a really interesting conversation for me, but our listeners probably don't give a shit. So I think this is as good a time as any to log out. Thank you guys so much for tuning into this episode of the Side Dish Podcast. Please follow us on _the Side Dish, like and subscribe, and we'll catch you guys in the next
Episode.